This optimism is more on display than right here in Hamilton or Sault Ste. Marie, where we secured billions in new investments from Dofasco and Algoma to make Ontario a global leader in clean steel. Let me take a second to explain what I mean when I talk about clean steel. Dofasco here in Hamilton and Algoma in Sault Ste. Marie will be some of the first companies in the world to replace coal-fed ovens with electric arc furnaces, powered by Made in Ontario clean energy. When it comes to the environment, this is the same as taking more than 1 million cars off the road. When it comes to the economy, this is an investment in 4,600 steel jobs right here in Hamilton, and countless more across the province as we connect clean steel with the auto manufacturers producing electric and hybrid cars. These homegrown supply chains will not only secure a future for clean steel making here in Hamilton and Sault Ste. Marie, but will make Ontario a go-to destination for game-changing investments from large automakers and major manufacturers. RPC governments invest in clean steel are a key part of our plan to make Ontario the electric vehicle manufacturing capital of North America, because we have it all, from the critical minerals to the battery plant to the auto plants, and now we have the clean steel. Friends, the Liberal, NDP, and Green parties, they've turned their backs on the workers. When Kathleen Wynne's hand-picked minister Stephen DeLuca abandoned manufacturing jobs, he chased 300,000 good-paying jobs out of the province, and Andrew Horwath and the NDP, they propped the Liberals. It's no surprise that workers have stopped supporting the NDP, because years ago the NDP stopped supporting workers. We can't let the Liberals take us back, and we can't let the NDP hold us back. Well, they say no, we're saying yes. Yes to getting more workers into skilled trades, yes to 1.5 million homes, and we're saying yes to building a bigger and better Hamilton LRT. Yes to doubling the number of lanes on Highway 5 and enhancing Highway 6. And yes to modernizing Hamilton Health Sciences. Friends, we have the team, we have the vision, and we have the plan, and we have the momentum. So on June the 2nd, I'm asking for your vote. Everybody, let's do it. Let's get it done. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Ford. John Woodward from CTV News. We've been doing some digging, and the records that we've shown show dozens of MPPs have millions of dollars invested in the housing market. That's on top of the millions of dollars invested in the homes they live in. And we're wondering if you think that played a factor in this province being a bit slow to address the housing crisis.
Well, I don't think we're slow. To the contrary, we had more housing starts any time in 30 years. We had over 100,000 housing starts, and that's the same as the rentals. We've had more rental starts any time in 30 years. Our goal is to cut through the red tape and work collaboratively with the municipalities, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are approving the permits. But we're going to work collaboratively with them to make sure that we have attainable ownership, affordable housing, regular housing right across this province. But what we need to do is standardize the process, which we're doing right across the province with the municipalities, and we look forward to building 1.5 million homes in the next 10 years.
Just on the housing front, again, a recent rule change by the Integrity Commissioner reduces the amount of information that is disclosed about the properties that MPPs own. I'm wondering if you support that, and what that means for our ability as the public to judge whether our elected officials are in a conflict of interest.
Well, you know, that's up to the Integrity Commissioner. I don't get involved with the Integrity Commissioner. I'll let them make that decision. But what we're focused on is making sure that we're building 1.5 million homes in the next 10 years for the people of Ontario.
Morning, Mr. Ford.
Hi.
Matt Simar from Radio-Canada.
Hi.
I have a question about your candidate in Brantford-Brant, Will Bouma, and
Sure.
his and there's a report about his involvement with an homophobic publication. Stephen DeLuca today called it very, very deeply offensive, something that has no place in Ontario. First of all, were you aware of Mr. Bouma's involvement with this organization, and what do you think of this?
Let me tell you, anyone who knows Will and his family knows that those are not his views. Matter of fact, I'll to say that again, are not his views, 100% not his views. He's addressed this already, and he had no involvement. I repeat, he had no involvement in this article.
And I want to ask you a question about the race in Vaughan Woodbridge. How confident are you that your candidate, Michael Thibodeau, will defeat Stephen Del Duca again?
Well, I'm confident because the people of Vaughan, they want lower taxes. And Stephen Del Duca, they know what he's done over 15 years. He hiked up the taxes. He hiked up the toll roads. He's in favor of hiking up the gas tax. You know, he was instrumental. Matter of fact, he put the road tolls on, and he was instrumental in hiking up the license stickers, twice. So he wants to jack up the taxes on everyone. Michael Thibodeau is one of our brightest ministers, especially when it comes to mental health and addiction. He's done an incredible job for the people of Vaughan, and I'm confident that he'll win his riding.
Hi, Mr. Ford. Jack Howen with Queen's Park Briefing.
Hi, Jack.
So on March 3rd, the day after the Ottawa Police Services Board resigned en masse, after one member, Robert Sueda, was reported to have attended the Freedom Convoy protests, you promised to find out which of your Ottawa area MPPs recommended Mr. Sueda be appointed to that board, as is typical for these kinds of appointments. So which MPP was it?
You know something? I just couldn't tell you off the top of our head. We have some great people on that board right now. They're serving the people of Ottawa. They're going to do a great job on the Police Services Board.
So Ms. Fullerton and Ms. McLeod have both denied that it was them, and we've been told that it wasn't Ms. Gamari. So the only other Ottawa area PC MPP is Jeremy Roberts. We asked him if he recommended Mr. Sueda, and he dodged the question. He didn't answer it. Have you spoken to him about this? And what will you do if you find out that it was him?
Well, again, I don't know who it was. And the other thing is, the most important thing is we have great members on right now on the Ottawa Police Services Board. But I'm going to be very frank. You know, people are worried about jobs. They're worried about affordable housing. They're worried about taxes going up. That's what people are worried about. And we're going to make sure that we build the 1.5 million homes. We're going to lower the taxes, put more money back into people's pockets. We have a thriving economy. Under the Liberals, propped up by the NDP, lost 300,000 jobs. We have 550,000 more people working today than we did before we started, and we have 338,000 jobs in the waiting for more people. We just need more people in Ontario.
Hi, Mr. Ford.
Hi.
You're on Andrea Horvath's turf today, and she this morning said that despite you saying you're a man working for workers, that you are not a friend of working people, pointing to your move shortly after taking government to cancel the planned increase in minimum wage, to be reluctant to introduce paid sick days. I'm wondering what your response is.
Well, you know, honestly, I think Andrea Horvath's running scared, but she gave up on the workers a long time ago. The workers and the trade unions at one time used to support the NDP. They've given up on her, and I'll tell you the reason why. She's anti-building anything, anti-building housing, anti-building highways, anti-building roads. Andrea Horvath would rather sit there on a picket line with her signs protesting a bill than actually getting it done. So we know we're doing well in Hamilton. She's extremely concerned right now, and rightfully so, because the people and the hardworking folks here in Hamilton understand they want lower taxes. They don't want to pay for the license plate stickers. They don't want to pay for high fuel cost. And all three of the other candidates want a carbon tax. And what does that do? We see what the carbon tax does. It jacks up everything. Increases the cost of gas, increases the cost of food. So people want more money in their pockets. It's hard enough to fill up your tank without costing a fortune as it stands now.
What you've talked about a lot in the last few days, the endorsements from trade unions. What about workers who don't have the protection of a union to advocate on their behalf for things like higher wages for those paid sick days?
Well, I'll tell you, we came out, we raised the minimum wage to $15.50, but I always believe too, the market dictates when things are thriving in the economy. This is an employee's market right now. You know, you can get a job in any single sector you want. You can almost determine what you need to fill that job, and that's what I believe in, letting the market dictate. We're going to support the workers. They're going to get increased wages. They're going to get increased benefits. Again, our economy is thriving because we've created the climate and the conditions for companies to invest in Ontario. Prior to us coming in office, they were leaving in the droves, 300,000 of them. Now they're coming back in the droves. Again, I just need more people.
Good morning, Mr. Ford.
Morning.
If you're elected to form government again, would you commit to bringing in legislation similar to the Our London Family Act? And if not, what would you do to combat Islamophobia and other hate crimes in Ontario?
Well, we have a great strategy when it comes to anti-hate of any form. And by the way, we moved it to the Minister of Multiculturalism. We made a dedicated ministry for that. Over on top of the funding before, we've added another $30 million for education and security. And I'll tell you one thing, I think people understand this. I have zero tolerance for any hate of any type, for any religious background. We live in Ontario. Everyone should be getting along. And honestly, 99% of us, probably even higher, all get along, work together, live beside each other. That's what Ontario is all about. And I'm proud of our record there.
Just following up on the earlier question about Mr. Boma, what would it take for the PCs to disqualify a candidate, given that you're allowing, candidates who participate in slave auctions and some who apparently endorse homophobic?
Well, again, that's a really unfair statement. Will Boma, he's a credible person, credible man, an incredible family. He just doesn't believe in that, and he didn't do it. End of story. I don't know who's making this stuff up, but he is just a quality person, and so is his family.
Hi, Mr. Ford. Just
Hi.
following up more on Will Buma here. Regardless of whether he wrote the article or not, according to the Press Progress, he headed the Religious Youth and Education Committee at the time of the publication. And that magazine was calling for kids and young readers to reject the homosexual lifestyle. So regardless of whether he said he took part or not, how can you allow a candidate to still be a part of this organization that was promoting that?
Again, anyone who knows Will, anyone who knows his family, and maybe you should look into his family as well, because they're incredible people, knows that that's not his views. Simple. That's it. But again, what people care about in Brantford Brant, I'll tell you what they care about. They care about more jobs, lower taxes, and they want to make sure that they can pay their mortgage, pay their rent, and put food on the table. That's what people are concerned about, and that's what this election is about. Who do they trust getting the economy moving forward? And there's only one clear choice, that's the Ontario PCs.
And new reports suggest that home prices have soared 44% during the time that you've been premier. At the same time, you've largely mounted campaigns that revolve around working for the people. So how do you explain that surge, and what are you prepared to do to address this?
Well, that just goes to show you, for 15 years before we got into office, there was every roadblock, every barrier, anything you can think of, that they just weren't in favor of building, no matter if it was rentals or home starts. And our record speaks for itself. We had more home starts, over 100,000 home starts in 30 years. We had more rental starts. We have over 11,000, more than 30 years. We need to cut through the red tape. We need to cut through the regulations. We need to standardize the process until the cities and towns can start approving these projects. Some of these projects, trying to get through the bureaucracy and the red tape in these cities could take 2 or 3 years. As the prices of labor, as the prices of lumber and steel go up, I get an idea. We're going to give every single tool, which we have, to the municipalities to cut through the red tape and get these permits signed and get them out the door.
Ken Warner, Hamilton Community News. I was wondering, you've been talking about building stuff and that sort of thing. What about considering widening Highway 403 and widening the link because of traffic problems and, traffic chaos up there? See,
I like that idea, and thank you for that suggestion. I know we're working on Highway 5 and Highway 6 and widening those, but I got an idea. After June the 2nd, I'd love to look into that. That's what I like, building. We're a government of building highways and roads and bridges. But as the community grows, we're going to need more roads, more highways, widening them, and I'm all in favor of that, so I can't wait to chat with you after June the 2nd, and I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yes, so since there's a lot of things for the Conservative candidates to talk about during this election, will you tell these PC candidates, especially in Hamilton, to participate in debates? They're avoiding them.
Well, you know something, we have a clear message, and the clear message is very clear. We're the only party that's going to lower your taxes, put more money into your pockets, build schools and hospitals and bridges and roads and highways. The other three parties won't. They're anti-building. They'd protest everything you could possibly think of. I've seen it for the last 4 years. You have a very clear choice, folks. You can either vote for the three parties that will set up committees and studies and drag building out for years, or you can vote for the PCs. We're gonna get it done. We're gonna get housing built. We're gonna get the hospitals built. Over 50 projects, 50 hospitals around this province, every single region. $40 billion investment into hospitals. We're putting $14 billion into new school projects. As the Liberals, propped up by the NDP, closed 600 schools, we're building 100 new schools across the province. So we're going to get it done. They're going to talk about it, and people are going to have a clear choice on June the 2nd.
Hello, Mr. Ford. You were talking about green steel earlier at Dofasco and Algoma. We can see Stelco here in the background, another large steelmaker in the province. Have you had any green steel talks with them? Any discussions?
Yeah, a little bit. We're in talks with them. I'm encouraging them to go with the electric arc furnace. As you know, I can't dictate to private sector companies, but I can sure encourage them. And we'll continue on the talks with Stelco. But I'm telling you, I'm just so proud that we're saving 4,600 jobs in Hamilton here, and a couple thousand up in Algoma and Sault Ste. Marie. This is blazing a new trail. This is world class. Anywhere in the world, we're going to be the first out of the gate, or one of the first, I should say, out of the gate, producing clean green steel that's part of our supply chain, starting from the critical minerals up in the north that are going to manufacture the batteries in southwestern Ontario, and the green steel coming out of Dofasco right behind me. That green steel and clean steel, as I say, are going to be in the auto sector. The auto sector invested $14 billion into new electric vehicles, and I always say we're going to be the electric vehicle capital of North America. We're going to be producing the batteries right across the province. We have some really exciting announcements coming in with other companies that are investing into the supply chain. We're just excited. We're going on all cylinders, and I just want to thank all the people, all the trade unions, all the workers out there that are helping make this happen.
And just to follow up on my predecessor's question, we have a long tradition here of local riding debates during provincial elections, but we're hearing from some Tory candidates that the party has decided that they should not participate. Is that the case? And if so, why is that?
Well, you know, I can't speak for every single candidate, because we do have candidates going out there and doing debates, but I'll tell you, our main message, it's a very clear message. They're going to have a choice on June the 2nd. Either vote for the parties that are saying no to everything, or vote for the PCs that are saying yes. Yes to lowering taxes, yes to building, yes to getting this economy moving on all cylinders, and that's what we're going to do.
Hi, Doug Ford. This is Bobby Herstola, CBC News.
Hi, Bobby.
When you came into office, you made a point of scrapping renewable energy projects and EV rebates, and you've also made substantial changes to environmental review processes. Now you say you have a plan to address climate change and protect the environment. How can you justify your climate rhetoric now with your government's track record on the issue?
Well, I'd say it's fact. You know, we took a different strategy. We're investing billions of dollars into people, into long-term jobs. And a perfect example is the 4,600 jobs at Dofasco. What would have happened if we didn't put $500 million, along with the federal government investment, into Dofasco? What would happen to their jobs? What would happen to the jobs up in Sault Ste. Marie if we didn't invest? As the jobs were chased out of this province in Windsor, we had the largest investment in green energy and green vehicles, electric vehicles in Windsor. $5 billion from LG and Stellantis, another $3.6 billion from Stellantis, and let's look at Oshawa too. You know, they closed their plant because of the policies of the Liberals. Now they opened up Oshawa, they're going full steam ahead. And think of all the other auto manufacturers, no matter if it's Ingersoll or Woodstock or Oakville or Alliston or Cambridge, as I said before, Windsor, Brampton. So all these areas and all these towns and cities, they'd be a ghost town if the Liberals were still in power. Now they're feeling energy. They have certainty now. They have great paying jobs. And we're just really moving forward in a real rapid fashion with the auto sector. And I want to thank the auto sector for investing $14 billion. And by the way, the $14 billion are just from the big five. I haven't even mentioned the billions that are going to be invested from the big auto part manufacturers too. So this is an exciting time for Ontario.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. My second question, you've obviously been really emphasizing your wanting to build. Your use of ministers' zoning orders has come under a lot of scrutiny. First Nations communities say that their constitutional right to be meaningfully consulted is being dismissed in order to get projects up. What does meaningful consultation mean to you? How are you going to address that?
Well, let me address a couple things. We have the rules that unless the municipality asks for it, meaning the mayor and the council, they don't get an MZO. Unless they've consulted with the First Nations community, they don't get a MZO. It's as clear as that. Everyone's followed the rules. Now, let me talk about our relationship with the First Nations. No matter if it was any of the chiefs across Ontario, Regional Chief Hare told me very clearly, no one has listened to us. No one has been more accessible to us, ever, any government, than your government. Every single chief in Ontario has my personal cell number. They reach out to me on a weekly basis. We have an incredible relationship with Grand Chief of Canada, Roseanne Archibald. I think the world of her. And I also have an incredible relationship with all the chiefs. I've had them to my house. I've had them down to Queen's Park numerous times. We have a phenomenal relationship with our First Nations community. And as they tell me, it's the best they've ever had. Thank you, everyone.